following podcast features half-biased and controversial sports takes. All predictions are simply predictions, and we truly don't know what will happen. We will try our best to keep you entertained, but no guarantees. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to our show. Much love, Ripper Brands.
How we doing? Welcome to episode 63 of the River Podcast. Ethan Rollinson, Elson Gratz with you. Hawaiian shirt is back. We settled in Oklahoma.
It's already a week and a half into the next semester, and I feel like I'm running on fumes. Like, I have to read Epictetus. Do you know what Epictetus is?
Not a clue.
Neither do I, and I'm supposed to read it. Got a quiz on it tomorrow. Wish me luck.
Yeah, good luck to you. Not a little bit of a shaky intro right there. A couple too many ums and ifs or buts, but hey, we made it. We're a minute into the episode now. It happens to the best of us. Second semester, though, also, I agree. It's a little difficult. We'll talk to Jason Carpenter a little bit. He's well into his college career, so he'll be able to give us a little bit of insight potentially of how to overcome some of these potential adverse situations. But second semester, I just got out of a over 2 hour. I think it's somewhere around 2 hour lecture about history of architecture. Not fun at all. And then an hour discussion before that. So that's where my afternoon consumed, and not the greatest class, not my favorite class. It's probably number one in terms of difficulty of trying to, take and get through the class. But hey, that's what college is all about. First semester was just too much of a breeze for me. And math class, I got at least an hour of homework every single night. Haven't had that even since high school. So happens. I know, Elson, Tulsa's Oklahoma. Tulsa's process is like you had 2 midterms, crazy final schedule. You're probably used to it.
We're getting there. I will say, if you're already hating on architecture, you are planning on going into architecture, right? That might be a bad sign.
No. I'm not hating on it. No. I'm hating on the history, architectural history. It's part of it. I'm not hating on architecture.
Overrated.
The history, a 2-hour history lecture from a boring professor is no good. At least for me. And that's my personal stand. And the math homework.
That's unbelievable. I think math is for suckers, personally. None of that over here. It's all philosophy, that nonsense on my end. This semester actually is easier for me than the last one, I think so. I'm not hating that so far.
Good. Happy to hear that. We got a fun one planned today. Enough talking about college and the boring stuff. Jason Carpenter will be joining us in just a moment. A little bit more controversy in the rankings again, Elson. One of those might be a little bit of a typo by me. My apologies. Girls basketball, though, one singular game in the area in the upcoming week. On the boys' side, we got 6. So a very heavy week of sports in the local area. In the boys' specter, we'll get to a commercial break at halftime, and then we'll get into a little national sports, PGA Tour, and then some NFL. Sad is not much college sports to talk about in terms of college football. Kind of sad to not have that. But hey, draft's coming up, and that'll be exciting.
Real excited for the draft, as always. It is Senior Bowl week, so we're just starting to get some of the reports from there out. It's also my 1-year anniversary. My first Instagram post was on the Senior Bowl last year. Happy to have a year under my belt.
Well, that was my next point right there. Elson Gratz, 1-year anniversary of laying out some expert analysis of the NFL draft and just NFL in general. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Dishing that stuff out, I think it's awesome. You do a really good job. Happy to have you on the program. And congratulations on 1 year. That's awesome.
Graphics are going to be even better a year from now.
Absolutely. What do we got? Any sort of celebration? Any of your fellow Tulsans, I think we discovered what you guys are called.
They baked me a cake in all of my classes. I thought that was really cool.
Every one of your classes, wow.
Every one, yep.
Good for you.
In one class,
those are good people down there. Hey, shout out all the Tulsans. All right, cool. Hey, let's get to it. Joining us now is the man, the myth, the legend, probably one of the fastest runners. Alson's cup of tea and the whole running type thing, not really mine, but Jason Carpenter, welcome to the program.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Good. Thanks for joining us. So I didn't mention that you are a faster. Are you in the faster or more of a pace, like long distance, like Elson was in his prime? What are you kind of doing?
I've been switched around a little bit here. I mainly like my event. I used to be a 400 hurdler, so I was doing those long distance races, that endurance, but still need a lot of speed. But
You're jumping too.
Technically, I'm not going to get too much into that, but
okay.
they've got me doing the heptathlon and the decathlon. So I'm running, I'm jumping, I'm doing the mile, I'm pole vaulting. So I'm covering all the bases now.
That's crazy. What are those? I have no clue. Elson probably knows, but what is the heptathlon and decathlon? I think is what you heptathon.
Yeah, so the heptathlon is my indoor event. In that we've got the 60 meter, the 60 hurdles, long jump, high jump, pole vault, shot put, and the 1,000 meter. So I'll do all those over the course of 2 days. Just did one actually last weekend up at the University of Minnesota.
Saw that.
And then outdoor here, I'll do the 100, 110 hurdles, the 400 meter, the mile, long jump, high jump, shot put, discus, javelin. Yeah, and that. So it's a pretty, over the course of 3 days. So it's a pretty hefty schedule, but it's been really fun learning to do all that.
Yeah, that's
one of my questions was actually going to be, how do you train for a heptathlon? Like, that's so many different skills. What does the training process even look like there?
It's definitely really heavy. Most of the time, my weeks consist of training for multiple events over in one day. So like today, for instance, we're taking it pretty light since the heptathlon does beat up your body pretty hard. So we're having to spend some time recovering before we can really get back into it. But most days, for instance, I'll hurdle first. After a warm up, I'll go into long jump and then sometimes go throw shot put after that. Other days it'll be high jump and then hurdles, or on some days it'll be just pole vault. So it kind of varies depending on where I feel like I need the work and my coach feels like I need the work, and also what my body's able to do.
That feels insane to me. Like, did you have any prior experience with shot putting in high school or before this season at all?
No, the only events that I really had any, like, hurdles were my main event. Anyone that ran with me in high school knew like that was my thing. That's what I thought I would be doing. I had dabbled in triple jump, long jump, and a small amount of high jump, but for the most part, everything I've been learning brand new for the first time this year.
That's awesome.
How'd you get into that? Your coaches just made that decision for you, or is that something you expressed interest in?
I kind of changed it up at my last school, since I am a transfer and I came here this last semester. We kind of talked about it, and there was concern after my shoulder surgery of whether or not I'd be able to compete in it well and be able to do all the events that came with it. But we talked about it, and I was like, felt confident that I would be able to do it. So now we're here practicing for it and competing in it.
So talk about that. You're a transfer student. Talk about your athletic journey from high school to the point that you're at now.
Yeah. So out of high school, definitely had a very interesting, very fun high school career. Was able to make it to state multiple years, found my way into a few record books, that sort of thing. I committed Division I. Valparaiso University was my alma mater now. Unlikely that I'll go back there, but I ran with them for just one outdoor season. I faced a lot of injuries while I was there and used up lots of red shirts. My freshman year, right away, I had to have a major shoulder surgery, which put back together my whole shoulder. And that was definitely a big delay in the process of figuring things out. I ran 1 year of outdoor with them the following season. And then after that, it was an injury to the knee, and I knew that I couldn't stay there much longer to achieve the things I wanted to. So I took a semester off, used a red shirt to just kind of give myself the peace of mind, get my mind back in place, get back on the right path I wanted to be. And then I came to junior college level because I knew that'd be a great spot to restart things and get my confidence back on the competing side.
So where are you at right now? Somewhere in Iowa, correct?
Yeah, I'm currently in Fort Dodge, Iowa at Iowa Central Community College.
And how are we liking that? Do we like being in Iowa over Indiana, or do we like being in the middle of Wisconsin? How are we feeling? What's the state situation?
I definitely have love for Wisconsin. I would love to go back to Wisconsin. I think it's the best Midwest state, along with Michigan and Minnesota. Indiana and Iowa, however, Indiana is definitely the bottom of the Midwest for me. Not a big fan of that state. Did not enjoy my experience there. But Iowa, I enjoy it, but I'm definitely not planning to be here long term for any reason.
So you mentioned that you had a lot of injuries at Valpo, and just a lot of different things kind of went into that decision about trying to make that transfer over to Iowa, where you're at now. What are some of those thought processes, potentially communications with family or people that are important to you? What went into making a decision like that, and making the transfer?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't easy. Anyone that's transferred out of the Division 1 or Division 2 level knows there's, especially now with these new transfer portal rules that go across all sports, that I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about with college football, since you talk about that a lot. There was a lot of paperwork side of things that I had to do, and a lot of like officially declaring things. There wasn't a lot of room to like make mistakes there. It was a really quick process. You don't Being a mid-season transfer like I was and transferring that semester, there's not a whole lot of room to go out and get yourself re-recruited somewhere else. So I felt, especially after talking with my parents and those close to me, and I knew that would probably be what was best for me. I wasn't seeing a lot of success where I was, and so I just had to pull that trigger and go hopefully find somewhere and take that risk where I could be successful.
So
Continuing on the theme
yeah,
of
go ahead.
injuries, obviously it hasn't been an easy journey. What helped you decide to stick with track when things were hard?
Uh, Definitely taking a time off of it. I know track is one of those sports where it's really year round once you get past high school, and it's definitely, I'm sure you train months and months and months, and to only PR by maybe a couple seconds in a distance race or only a few tenths of a second in a sprint. So there's definitely a lot of mental like challenges that come with track and field. So taking the step away and just reevaluating what my goals were with it and what I wanted to do with track and field helped me come back to it in the right place and the right mind to be successful.
What were some of the big offers you had in the transfer for? A couple $1,000,000 to go where you're at, or
No, track and field, unfortunately, you don't see those guys up there making a whole lot of money. I believe one thing I was told was nobody's making a career out of track and field. There's only a small few that do, and they're not making a whole lot. So I had a few interests, but a lot of them, given the injuries, wanted me to go find somewhere where I could maybe get those times back to where they had seen them before, and then we could reevaluate going back into the big pond and stuff like that. So
absolutely. You talked about in that decision to make that transfer. You talked about your parents and talking to those who are close to you. Talk about your parents specifically and what they mean to you, and what they've done for you and supporting you through your athletic process.
yeah, my parents my parents are the biggest factor in any success I've seen in classroom, in college, and in athletics. Obviously, when I remember the first time I called them and I told my parents, and the original phone call was that I wanted to quit. My mind was so far out of track and field that I told them, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't for me. I can't keep up with this. And I remembered talking to them a few times in the decision leading up to signing those papers to transfer out. And the whole time they never did anything that deterred me from it. The only thing they would really bring up was make sure it's the right decision for you. And that's kind of always been their motto, especially at these meets and times where some of those old habits of letting my mind get a little loose while competing. And I've gone and talked to them, like they really keep me grounded. So I'm incredibly grateful for having them in my lives and, being able to support me the way they do.
Absolutely. Shout out to Carpenter parents. Shout out to the Carpenter parents. Love it. So let's talk a little bit about your academics a little bit. Are you a biology and ecology major, or explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so right now I'm about to graduate in May with my Associate of Science in Biology. I'm going to transfer that over to my next institution where I'm going to pursue wildlife ecology or wildlife biology, somewhere in that field. Since a lot of the work I want to do is in DNR, aquariums, fishery management, that kind of stuff. I work at an aquarium right now, actually, down in Dubuque. So just given all those experiences, and that's really what I like doing. And so that's what I study, even though it can be hard times to balance those science classes with athletics.
I was going to say, am I wrong in thinking that those are extremely hard classes that you're having to manage at the same time?
I think sometimes STEM students really like to over dramatize it to make, like business majors feel bad, saying that all they do is coloring books and things like that. Because I definitely do get nights of free time, but it's definitely not an easy major. It takes a lot of studying, but I wouldn't say it's an impossible thing to do.
So some of my friends, they're exaggerating, but they're not lying per se.
I would definitely say that. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
So last question for you. What you mentioned that your plan is to not stay there full time or to eventually find a new home. It's kind of that bridge period, obviously embracing all of the moments you have there. But where do you see yourself a year from now, 2 years from now? Like, what is your future plans? What is a goal that Jason Carpenter has running track?
I would like to remake my appearance at the Division I level. I'm still actively being recruited right now. I have conversations with coaches and things like that after most of my meets. So I haven't really pinned down anywhere where I want to go yet. I'm still open up, talking to new coaches, things like that. But I definitely see myself either appearing back in that Division II high competitive level or that Division I level after this year is over.
Cool. Last question. I know I lied to you earlier. Last question. As a big golfer yourself, are we planning on joining the RGL this summer?
Depending on where I'm at, due to internships and things like that, I may be able to make an appearance in the RGL, but I can't make any promises right now.
Let's go. I know a couple appearances. I don't know how many times he played with us last summer. A couple times though. So yeah, appreciate that and excited to potentially see you in the league next year. We're still working on Elson. We're trying to get that golf swing dialed in. Elson's trying to get that figured out. It's not quite as natural as he is as a runner, but hey, we're working on it, right, Elson?
I've been getting a lot of mental reps in. Not really picking up a club yet, but kind of imagining myself hitting the ball well. If I can hit it off the tee, that would be a personal win.
Okay, understandable. We'll take that. I mean, if you get it going towards the hole, right? I mean, that's always the end of the day. You're just trying to get the ball closer to the hole. Doesn't really matter how many times it takes, as long as we're just going forward. If we're going backwards, we got to rework some things. But we just got to keep going forward.
If you're going to coach me up, I'd appreciate it.
We got a comment here. My mom makes a comment. Is we can appear. Kate Carpenter and Derek Carpenter are gold star parents. Congratulations on your success. There you go. Forgot to make that comment before. Elston and I have been working on something where we want to be able to allow viewers to comment questions that we're able to ask our guests. But happy we got something there. Excited to be able to continue to roll that out. Jason, thanks for joining us. Let's get into probably the coolest segment on our show. It's called the Daily Draft. I'm sure you're familiar. We got a fun one here in honor of the Super Bowl coming up. Not this weekend particularly, but next weekend. We're going to be talking about the best parts of the Super Bowl. Elson, this is usually the period of time where I like to make fun of you. But I got to admit, while I did get the job done last week, or I guess 2 weeks now with Jubek, you were a close second. Your Prince Cheese Days experience really got you almost to a dub, but second place ain't bad. That was a close second. I was getting a little nervous, I must admit.
Did you win that one? You seriously won that one?
Absolutely.
That's embarrassing.
Did. Yeah,
That's completely embarrassing.
I think Jubek's, he's talking about the casual person palate. I think it actually played to my advantage a little bit. I think his cheese were pretty extreme and only hit the minority of our viewers. But I'm happy to get another win. I don't recall losing very often, so I'm happy to continue to win, and I do look forward to potentially trying to get that to go my way coming into this week. So we got the best parts of the Super Bowl. You know the rules. Winner gets 2 points. Second place gets 1 point, and third place gets a participation prize. Jason is representing our guests who have 2 points, tied with Elson. So potentially a big change in the standings after this week. The results of this daily draft will be posted on social media, particularly Instagram, for you to be able to vote, and that will determine our winner. As always, we like to give our guest option of where they want to draft, 1, 2, or 3. Jason, it is a snake draft. Where are you feeling?
I think given the Super Bowl and knowing that there's a lot of big things going around one, I think I'm going to take the first pick.
Going number 1. All right. Elson, do we have that handy dandy coin?
Let me grab one real quick.
Okay, I'm
Small change
gonna.
today. We just got a penny. You want heads or tails?
Hey,
Ethan?
Penny's gonna work well. I'm hoping to get a little bit of luck with that penny landing on heads. I'll
All
take
right,
heads.
let's see. Wow, that was a terrible flip. We're going to do that again. That ended up on top of the dresser.
Oh boy.
This is a career low for me. All right, so you're going to stick with heads.
I'm gonna stick with
We
heads.
got tails. I'm going to take pick number 2.
Okay, and I will go with number 3. I'll take the snake. Jason Carpenter, get us started. Who are you thinking?
I think I'm going to go with the obvious one. I'm going to go with the food. I'm a big snack guy myself, so Super Bowl food is always my number one thing at my heart when it comes on.
Food, love it. I think my current plan is to head back to good old Monroe for the Super Bowl. First time since being back here this semester, and I believe we might be doing some fondue. So I'm really looking forward to some good Super Bowl food. That's a good 1-1. Elson Gratz, take it away.
I got to strategize here a little bit because, with the Super Bowl, there are only so many things you can pick out as the best parts. I'm going to take the Gatorade color prediction. I think that there's a lot of skill in it.
I love it. I love it, absolutely. I got 2 picks here. I'm loving it. I'm super happy. I got 2 picks, and I'm going to go with 2 picks that I think are stereotypes that literally, when you think about the Super Bowl, that's what comes to mind. Give me the commercials and give me the halftime show.
Unfortunately, that's going to win it for you, I think, because nobody has taste.
Hey, you both had the opportunity to pick them. There's no excuses here.
All right, I guess I'm up next. This is maybe offensively my favorite part. I'm going to go with the game planning. Unlike every other game in the NFL season, you got 2 weeks to sit on this. This is where we see the best of the coaches involved, the best of the players involved. Give me the football, the game plan that goes into it.
That's a classic Elson answer right there. The game plan. I love it. Jason, you got 2 picks to round your draft out. It's 3 picks, by the way.
All right, I think this next one might be a little bit of a reach, but I'm feeling quite confident. I know me personally, I'm quite sick of watching the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl. I'm sure like many others that are in the area. So I think my second pick, I'm gonna go with the Puppy Bowl.
That's a good
I know
one.
a lot of us don't want to watch the actual Super Bowl this year, and we'd rather watch a bunch of foster puppies run around.
The Puppy Bowl. I did not have that on my list, but that's a good pick. That might win it right there. All right, last pick for you.
I think then my very last pick, I'm gonna go with the bad referee calls.
Okay.
Me personally, I love watching fans post the highlights of referee calls that are just so obscure, and I love the rumors that the NFL is scripted. So anytime that those can get boosted, I'm here for it.
Love it. Elson Gratz, round out this terrible list once again.
So, Jason, you were talking about the bad referee calls, and that's kind of standing in the way of my pick, which is the Chiefs losing and not three-peating. There's my prediction right there. It's not going to happen. Saquon Barkley has something to say about that.
I gotta admit, you guys, I had a solid list of 9, and the only 2 things I've crossed out that have been taken are my 2 picks. I'm bloated right now. I don't know the Puppy Bowl. I think the food's potential, but the Puppy Bowl for sure that's a top 5 pick. I regret missing that one. I got a couple options of where I could go. I think there's a lot of good honorable mentions here. Because Elson took the Gatorade color prediction, I'm gonna eliminate one of my options that's too similar. I think I'm gonna go with Taylor Swift. I'm excited to see her. Super Bowl for the top of it's the biggest market. Everybody's watching. All the Swifties are there. 3 years in a row. Obviously, she's bringing in numbers for the NFL. I'm gonna go with Taylor Swift.
Ethan, what's wrong with you?
I was waiting for the hate. I mean, you guys are hating on them. I'm gonna love them. Taylor Swift all the way. A couple honorable mentions. I love the prop bets. That would have been my pick. But the Gatorade color is technically one of the prop bets. But there's a couple honorable mentions. So I mean the prop bets are awesome. National anthem length, Gatorade color. First score, first play of the game. How many times did they pan to Taylor Swift? A lot of good things there. Also, one thing, and this could be like odd. It might be just something I like. That's why I didn't pick it. But I love waiting to see the new graphic every year. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but every year, obviously the TV channel that has the Super Bowl rotates. But every year, whoever has a Super Bowl, they debut a new scoreboard graphic, and I love it. I love seeing what we get to look at for the next handful of years. I got to say, CBS last year, CBS, I think they went backwards in their graphic, but that could be just a weird obsession that I have. But that's what I'm going to say. That's an honorable mention as well. But a lot of cool stuff. One thing I do want to mention is the logo reveal. I believe that has came out already. Do you guys know what color the logos are?
I do believe that it was blue and white. So
yeah, and you know what that means, right? Are we clear
Bills,
on what that?
right? Bills.
I mean, it's more of a Dallas blue, I would say.
It's not your year. I'm going to tell you that ahead of time.
Okay, it is our year. Have you heard Schottenheimer talk?
No, I don't want to.
No, he's a beast.
I
was skeptical, but he's a beast.
I do believe I've heard somewhere that the only touchdown scored in Dallas is from the visiting team. So I don't believe that the Cowboys will be making their way to the Super Bowl, but I wish you the best of luck.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. At least I'll take the best of luck. Nowadays, I mean, I'll take that. Golly gee. But there's a lot of blue. There's a lot of Dallas blue in there. I'm fired up. Wait to see us in the big game. Notre Dame in the big game in college football this year. Dallas in the big game. NFL next year.
Oh, so they're going to lose the Super Bowl. Okay.
Probably not. I mean, we're always getting better, so probably not. But I can't rule anything out. I'll take a loss in the Super Bowl right now. I'll take that. That's improvement. Hey, let's review the list here. I went with commercials, halftime show, and, of course, the beloved Taylor Swift. Elson went with Gatorade, color predictions, the game planning, and the Chiefs losing. Jason went with the food, Puppy Bowl, and bad reffing. That's a pretty solid list. A couple of good solid lists there. So, again, that will be posted on Instagram. You can vote in the poll to determine who gets the job done. Jay Carp, thanks for joining us. Any big plans the rest of the night?
Nope. I think I'm going to a basketball game, and then I'll be getting ready to head off to South Dakota for another meet this weekend. So,
oh, basketball. Who we playing?
Kirkwood, number 4 in JUCO right now. So hoping for a big at-home upset to go and watch.
I'm surprised Tulsa's not trying to play a couple of those schools. Maybe they can have better competition.
Oh, shut up, Ethan. We're better at basketball than we are at football.
Okay. Anyways, hey, good luck at the meet in South Dakota. And good luck for you the rest of the year. I'm excited to be able to see where you might be able to move on to in the next couple of years and seeing where your career has. Hope to have you back on at some point as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. A lot of fun. Thanks, Jake Jason Carpenter, legendary man, deserves a round of applause, no doubt.
I'm voting for him for the Puppy Bowl.
The Puppy Bowl is a good pick.
That's an awesome answer.
The Puppy Bowl is an awesome pick. That is one.
Have you watched it before? Have you actually seen the Puppy Bowl?
I have not sat down and watched it. I've turned it on.
It's entertaining. They got a highlight reel for it. You should check it out.
I'll have to give it a look. I mean, that's a good time. That's a big time pick. Out of all daily draft picks, I think that's got to be up there. I bet
that there's one puppy that nobody really likes, but it just wins it every year because the refs always help them out.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, and they might have some really annoying like face mask looking helmet type thing too. That like and like looks like it talks like a frog a little bit when they bark. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, they might have someone like the refs just love. I mean, just a good poodle. You know what I mean? I think a poodle's a good way to describe him.
And he's got this teammate who's pretty good with like this really famous girlfriend who like sings or whatever the dog equivalent is. And then some guy on a podcast will pick that dog as the best part of the Super Bowl. Like, seriously, man, come on. The new score bug would have been a dramatically better pick than Taylor Swift. That is shameless.
Taylor Swift for the
You're
viewers.
trying to steal votes. I see you. I'm calling you out.
Well, it's worked. You know what? It's worked. I'm doing what I need to do to get the job.
You do what it takes to win.
We need to add some sort of incentive on this. We need to set like a first to like 10 points or something, and then some sort of incentive.
Wins $1,000 of your money. I would totally sign up.
My money. Is that how that works? Yeah. Okay. Elson, you got to keep in mind, I'm in college too. Yeah, I'm broke like you. I mean, we're both in the same boat here. I mean, you're just scrapping by. You know what I mean? We're just.
I'll put like 5 protein bars on the line. That's like half of the money in my bank account.
yeah. I'll put a little bit of my. I'll provide a free meal at the dining hall. How about that?
Sounds
Winner gets
good.
a free meal on me at the dining
I'll fly up there for it.
Yeah, okay, perfect. There you go. That's the plan. Hey, Elson, I forgot to do this at the beginning of the episode, but just want to remind you that you can check out our merchandise store by scanning the QR code on your screen or by going to ripperbrands.net. Use code podcast for 10% off your next order. Again, that is code podcast for 10% off your next order. So there you go. We're going to get to some local sports. We got to reveal our rankings, preview a couple high school basketball games. Then we're going to get to a break, probably a much needed break after drafting Taylor Swift. And then we're going to get some national sports and wrap up the show that way. All right, let's get to a rankings reveal. Here we go.
Terrible. I hate it.
Understandable. So the controversy, Elson and I talked about this a little bit coming into the program. Controversy was between the Monroe and Darlington. And the Monroe people, maybe it's because I know them and they feel like, they're Texan and whatever. But, man, earlier it was, Monroe beat New Glarus. They should be higher. Well, win percentage wasn't the same. Monroe was barely above 500. And New Glarus had a couple games above 500. I do believe they're about 9-7. If I see that correctly, it's pretty small on my screen. And then Monday night. I think it was Monday night. Darlington and Monroe played each other, and supposedly, and I did see Monroe killed Darlington. So shout out the Cheesemakers. Shout out Cheesemakers for getting a big time win over the Darlington Redbirds, the best team in the area. So big time dub for them on the road, I do believe. But I like this analogy. That's like putting Michigan in the college football playoffs over Ohio State because they beat them. Elson thinks that's fair, but it's not.
They should have been in the college football playoffs. I would have loved to see Michigan there. I think
sure
they would have won it all. Ohio State is not going anywhere in this year's college football playoffs. I'm calling it now.
Okay, there you go. But there's the rankings for you. Monroe up to number 3, so that's good to see. On the girls' side, not much has changed. A little bit of movement from 5 to 6 or 4 to 6 range, or in the middle there. But Albany Monticello staying down 18-0. That's pretty solid, Austin. I mean, they're
too bad.
They're kicking butt right now over there at Albany Monticello, and kudos to them. Darlington, a couple losses in the last week. Maybe they might be falling in the boys' side, and we can see maybe Argyle and Monroe take that number 1 spot. We got a competitive race here. Looking forward to the last couple of weeks of some basketball coming up. It's always going to be a fun one. Excited to be able to cover that in the way that we do. A lot of fun to be able to do that. And let's continue that by previewing a couple of games coming up. Want to make sure we preface that these are lighthearted and we are not experts in the field. But we got girls.
Extremely good at what we do.
Okay, so let's make that clear. Girls basketball, 9 versus 10. The worst and the second worst team going at it. Battle for the last place. Elson Gratz, what's your pick?
I think we're going to see him switch places. I'm picking Judah by 15.
Oh, I'm gonna go Monroe by 15. I think the best win all season was the first game of the year for the Cheesemakers, if not the second. I think it was the first, where they won. They won big time over the Judah Panthers. But that was in Cheesetown. Now we're going to the Panther Town, and I don't know.
That is a big home field advantage. I hear that they got a gym and everything. Never seen it, but I hear it's out there.
A gym with a scoreboard too. Crazy.
A scoreboard? We didn't have one of those playing JV baseball.
Or a fence. They got walls and it's enclosed. I mean, they got hoops
walls,
and everything.
Do they have a roof?
There's a roof, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Moving on up in the world.
Other thing is better ACT scores. I think that's actually since changed. But at some point, while you and I were Cheesemakers, they had better ACT scores on average than we did.
Well, we were bringing the average down. That's why Monroe is up now, because we're gone.
Yeah, our class. Hey, shout out class.
Like us in particular. Like we both scored so bad that it brought the average down below Judah.
All right, understandable. It's understandable. Let's keep going. Peck Argyle taking on, or no, just straight up Argyle. This is boys basketball now. Straight up. Oh, wait, this is a battle of co-op. Hey, rivalry game, a rivalry alert. Argyle taking on Peckatonica, a 2v4 matchup, which is big time. Austin, who are we picking?
We're making up rivalries in real time. Let's go with Argyle.
I love this. I mean, I don't know what county roads between the two, but we're gonna call that the rivalry game. Argyle, Peckatonica. I'm gonna go Argyle. I'll take the better team according to the rankings, and we'll move forward with that. Judah and Albany. This is actually a softball co-op. I didn't know if you knew that, but you know what they call themselves?
What?
It's not like a Peck Argyle or a Judah Albany. It's Jubany. They call themselves the
Jubini?
Jubini something. I don't know what their mascot is, but they're Jubini. Yeah,
I was thinking maybe Alba.
I like Jubini better.
I got a deep cut here. So in World War II, you know how like a bunch of football players went off and fought in the war when the NFL was way smaller?
Okay, no,
The
but yeah.
Steelers and Eagles, two really historic franchises, could not field a team by themselves, and so they combined and became the Phil Pitt Steagles. There's your history lesson for the day.
Where did you learn that?
I know the entire history of the NFL. It's all up here.
Wow, that's wild.
I
First
was
of
just
all,
born that way.
that's crazy. Is that real?
That's real. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, not kidding. That is authentically something that happened.
That's actually crazy. Do we know the result? How good were they?
I think they were all right. They were around 500.
So hypothetically, if the Steelers and Eagles were to combine right now, I think the only starter from the Steelers might be TJ Watt, excuse me.
Just about. Well, Cam Hayward would definitely start. Minka would start.
That's
and,
a crowded area.
no,
That
Ty
front
Smith.
four. That front
was that?
four is crowded for Cam's. I mean, do we think he's got a spot?
Hayward?
Yeah.
Hayward's the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL.
I don't know. You think he's better than Jalen Carter?
Oh, easily. The only other guy I
Really?
would consider is Chris Jones. But spoiler alert, they're both going to make the AFC Pro Bowl team.
Oh, a little TV preview there. Hey, that information right there, Elson, is going to get turned into a clip for the gram. That was good
Clip it all you
stuff.
want.
I don't know where you put that. That was good stuff. All right. So who are you picking? Did we make picks for this game? I don't even remember.
I think I picked Albany. I mean, it's against Judah, right? I'm picking
Yeah.
everyone over Judah.
You're not supposed to say that. That is not supposed to come out of your mouth. I'm also taking Albany. I'm gonna go with Albany because I think they're a better team. I think Judah's got a shot against anybody. I mean, it's not just it's not automatic. Like Elson just blatantly said.
It's automatic.
But I'm gonna go Albany. I think Albany's gonna get the job done. Who knows? Albany again. Taking on Pecatonica. I thought this is Argyle Pecatonica. Albany, Argyle, same thing. 4v6, a good middle round matchup. Who we taking?
Albany's heating up. An object in motion stays in motion. Albany for the upset.
I go Albany as well. I picked them last game. I'm going to take them again. I think Albany gets the job done. Not a good week for Pecatonica. They lose in a tough rivalry game, and then whatever we want to call this game. The worst team in basketball between boys and girls, I'll say that out loud. Blackhawk taking on Argyle. And
is Blackhawk one word or two when it's the high school?
So that's interesting you asked that because I always thought it was one word. And
I think so.
I remember seeing Ryan typed it out one time as 2 words. And then I've also seen on, Huddle and Wish Sports, other things like that it's 2 words. So I'm going to go with the 2 word.
I don't think that that's a positive because, like, when you're putting that on signs, you got to extend the sign. You got to buy more paint. I think that their supply lines are probably stretched thin. I'm going to go with the more concise Argyle here.
Yeah, I like Argyle too. I think black and hawk are like 2 different things. It's kind of like in a person that's named as like John Carter, like 2 first names.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of something similar to. It's kind of that kind of vibe.
Also, hawks are like brown, so.
Yeah, and I mean, Black Hawk. I like the Brown Hawks better.
Or like a Red Hawk, because like a Red Hawk exists.
Red Hawks are cool. I think Red Hawks it's a legit team name.
Definitely. Well, we're making a new high school. We're bringing education to the masses.
Monroe Red Hawk High School.
Yes, a rival to MHS. I think that would be easy to pull off, actually.
I think so too. I think there's a lot of controversy going around in the high school right now. I think if we were to start a high school at any point, I mean, right now would probably be the time. We'll make sure we're private so we can recruit players. We want to be able to do that.
We're bringing NIL to high school.
Absolutely. We're going to we're going to give them full rides because we're going to charge $100,000 a student a year. But then let's say about 75% of our students, and we're going to have like 30 maybe, about 75% of them are going to get full rides. And then the rest of them are going to pay for our school.
That sounds like a great business model to me.
Okay, we're going to work on that. I'm just kidding. Sorry. My mom and dad are probably like, oh, great. Another idea that we got to deal with right now. He's going to go, no, I'm not going to do it. I think
we're ambitious here at Ripper.
Exactly. We're trying to
swing big.
Yeah, we're trying to grow the community. That's right. We're trying to grow the community. No, we're not doing that. We're not starting a new high school. We love the
Yeah.
Cheesemakers. Nothing against the Cheesemakers. We're not starting a new high school. Maybe one day. All right, moving on into what game are we on? I think we're at Judah Monticello, number 11 versus number 9. I mean, Elson just shot Judah in the foot
Monticello
by
by
saying,
40.
Okay, there you go. There you go. I'm going to also take Monticello. I think two good teams, two pretty solid teams at that. But I'm going to support the Monticello. I said last week that they're a basketball school. They got blown out of the water last week. I forget who they played, but they got absolutely destroyed. But I want to take them. A little bit of a redemption game against Judah. Last game on the docket, Darlington, a team potentially maybe on the downslope, taking on Belleville.
We got two very affectionate team names, Darlington and Belleville. I think Belleville's getting hot. I think Darlington is falling, taking the upset here.
Yeah, that's not something we want to put on a graphic. We don't want to, get swept and then say Darlington, ooh, look who won. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go Darlington. I think it's hard to go against the number 1 seed. Until they're not the number 1 seed, I'll probably take them almost every time. But there you go. There's our predictions. Whether you like them or not, I can't really blame you either way. But we'll see.
I think we're over 50% accuracy on the season, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be interesting to potentially start keeping track of that. I'd be interested to see what our rankings are and seeing how successful we are. We'll see. There you go. There's our predictions. Moral of the story, I'll provide you a gist if you're just joining us. Elson hates Judah with all of his heart, and we're going to start a new high school.
Also correct.
There you go. Cool stuff as always. We're going to get to a break. It's time to get to a break. We are in desperate need of it. Ether Elson Grass, second half of the program coming right up.
What up, y'all? Just want to remind you about the best sunflower seeds in the business. Baseball and softball season is right around the corner, and we want to make sure you are well prepared. Scan the QR code on your screen and check out Smackin' Sunflower Seeds. Get yourself some of the best seeds in the business. Do it now so you don't forget. Are you a fan of Grant Horvat or Ben Kruper? If so, you are in luck. Scan the QR code or head over to primalgolfapparel.com and use code RIPPER for 15% off your next order. Make sure you check them out and get yourself some of their high-quality golf apparel now.
The following podcast features half-biased and controversial sports takes. All predictions are simply predictions, and we truly don't know what will happen. We will try our best to keep you entertained, but no guarantees. We appreciate you taking time out of our day to listen to our show. Much love, Ripper Brands.
All right, welcome back to the River Podcast, episode 63 of the program. Jason Carpenter joined us earlier. Had a lot of fun talking to him. Him and you and Jason Elson had some sort of I thought you're speaking some language I didn't quite understand, heptathlon or decathlon I've heard of, but some weird runner language. But I can see you guys had a little bit of a connection there.
Well, it's not just running. You got throwing, you got jumping. I'm not going to lie. I learned about the decathlons for the first time when I watched the Olympics. Was that last year? And I thought that was absolutely wild because when you're in the Olympics, you're specializing as much as you can. And obviously it's the same in college as well. So you got to be able to run, you got to be able to jump, and you got to be able to throw, which is obviously the bigger you are, the better you're going to be at throwing. I think that's absolutely crazy. One of the biggest feats of athleticism in the world.
Yeah, so I brought up something, and I want to hear your opinion on this. I asked Jason, or I said, something about hurdling. I said jumping a lot, and there was a little bit oh, we don't say that. Is there something that you guys know that I don't about the whole jumping hurdling thing? Is it not the same thing? Is there a little controversy?
My guess, based on context, is I think that I'm not sure if it's in the heptathlon or if it's just an event that he's been doing, but he's pole vaulting. I know. And it didn't seem like he had any prior experience with pole vaulting, so maybe he's not the world's best pole vaulter yet, and that's why.
Okay, we'll have to get some context a little bit there. Hey, we got a comment, another comment, and we love being able to put comments.
Also from your mom or no?
No, this is from the one and only Kate Carpenter. She says thanks, and then right back to you and Dano. Shout out Dano. Shout out Carrie and Dano. But the one and only Kate Carpenter, if the mother of Jason, watching the program. Appreciate her time. So we love putting comments. Next week, Elson, you and I are working on something that we're going to allow people to comment, as we're kind of trying out a little bit here with a couple comments that we've got. We're going to put a comment on the screen, and you can either ask a question to our special guest, or at the end of the program, we're going to have a segment where we pick, decent questions out of the comments, if there are any, and answer them, whether they're a debate question or, dating advice or whatever you need from us. We'll be here to answer your questions, and we'll have a little bit of fun with it. So if you have a question, feel free to throw it in the comments, and we'll potentially put it on the screen if it's worth our time. But that's something we're working on for next week, isn't it, Elson?
Yeah, and just so people know, we are experts in everything, like everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that reach out to me all the time about like trying to build them workout plans or dieting. Dating advice is a huge one for Elson and I. I mean, all the time. You should see the Instagram DMs. Insane about dating advice. I understand it's tough out there.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. But we're here for you. We're going to support you. Anything you need. I mean, just reach out. We're here for you. Let's keep it, appropriate to put on the screen. I think that's probably a good version.
Good advice.
I mean, I think a good rule, I heard this on the Pat McAfee show. All he tells his guests is don't embarrass the program, or I should say program for him. So I think we'll embrace that rule. Say what you want, just don't embarrass the program.
We embarrass the program every episode in the best way.
That's true. Hey, let's get to a little bit of golf. How about that? We're going to start with a little bit of golf. We're going to start with reviewing the Farmers Insurance Open. Here's what I got. There was a bug. I don't know what kind of bug, but it didn't make people feel very good. Going around tour, a lot of people caught it. Multiple people ended up withdrawing from the event. A guy like Ludwig Oberg, one of the best players in the world playing in this event, had a fantastic, I guess it was Wednesday, round one, played lights out, was in the lead by maybe a stroke or two, playing really good, caught the bug. Instead of withdrawing from the tournament because of sickness, he battled through. I mean, he was in contention. He had a chance to win. So we battled. They kept painting to him. He was like sitting on his bag, trying to stay hydrated, eating bananas, you name it, all that good stuff, and just struggling. But found a way to compete and finish it. He didn't win. I think he was struggling, so he dropped a couple spots. I don't think he was even in the top 5, but there's a bug going around. It sounds like most people are healthy, and they're going to be back for this upcoming week. Big tournament this week, by the way. Leaderboard. The leaderboard was not stacked at all. Farmers Insurance Open is a relatively big-time event. I mean, a lot of players do play this. And it was an event that with sickness, injury, I think the California wildfires played a little bit of a factor into their Not a lot of players played it this year, but the leaderboard on Sunday, I guess it was Saturday actually, just not loaded. I mean, not really. I think Harris English was the guy who ended up getting the job done, veteran on tour, but the leaderboard with names not a lot of people knew. I'll be honest, as a consumer, it did not make me want to watch the golf on Saturday like I would normally probably if I had nothing going on. So I would imagine the ratings were down. But tough golf course. Torrey Pines, one of the toughest golf courses in the country, in the world, and tough conditions. Wind blowing like crazy, just crazy stuff all around. So tough conditions, a tough tournament overall. But Harris English gets the job done. And we got a big tournament coming up this weekend. The AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am Elson. But you know what that means? Fantasy golf is back. And we talked about it because of the Wednesday finish. I see a little smirk. I know you're brewing something up. I understand. But with the Wednesday finish last week,
7,000 people came back, folks. It's a resurgence.
We're back. So one thing that I was not able to get my picks in, so I didn't record any points. I lost about 6,000 places, 7,000 places. We were in the top 10. The good thing is, I do believe we were within just a couple hundred points of the lead. So there's a lot of people between me and the number one guy in the world, but we're only a couple hundred points away. If we have a big week, we're right up there with the best of them. One thing, though, Elson, that is a little bit concerning is I just learned this week that you can only pick players 3 times throughout the entire season, I think.
Oh, that's smart. I get it. Kind of like a Survivor League in the NFL where you're trying to pick the winner, but you can only pick each team once. I think that's a good mechanic. Something
like that. So Justin Thomas, I think I only got one more time with him. Maybe same with Morikawa or Homa. So we got to start phasing ourselves a little bit. We got to lay back on some of these star players and start to branch out. I did learn that this week. So
It's all downhill from here.
Yeah, we're struggling. We're biting at the bit for sure. Hopefully those guys have bad seasons so that we can have other people be successful. Anyways, but yeah, we're looking to get back in the win column. Definitely took the L last week with not being able to get the points on the board. But hey, if you want to play fantasy golf with us, you can check us out. You can see where we're at Ripper Brands Fantasy Golf. They've improved some things. I know this is the first year, so they're trying to work some kinks out. But hey, this is something we'd like to say, Elson. You can only go up from here.
And hopefully no bugs at Pebble Beach. No hornets, no wasps, no mosquitoes. Hoping everybody stays healthy.
Yeah, we like a healthy one. Pebble Beach, Pebble Beach is the second signature event of the season. And this is kind of like the first. Everyone's playing. This is the best of the best in the PGA Tour are there. Everyone's playing. No one's really withdrawn. A lot of people who have surgeries or injuries over the offseason, this is kind of the first tournament that they're back for. A lot of people returning from injury, some of the best players included. And so we're back. A lot of people are out there. The Pro-Am aspect, which is a professional plays with some random person, usually a celebrity, which I believe took place today. Normally it takes place today. That's kind of a big time aspect. I haven't really followed that closely, but a lot of cool stuff with that. First big tournament really of the year, century, I guess you could say, but first real big tournament of the year. Excited to have golf back the way it needs to be.
This is where fantasy golf legends are made.
That's right. And we're back. Scotty Scheffler's in the field. We made the pick. He's probably going to win. So we're in good shape. Elson Gratz, let's get to a little bit of NFL football. We're in honor of the Pro Bowl.
Terrible, man.
Yeah, we're not fans here. We're not fans.
This is way better than the actual Pro Bowl. Like, you're better off watching this podcast than watching any of the Pro Bowl.
Exactly. No doubt. So here's our, we're thinking about this. So Elson and I, we're going to go head to head. Super excited to beat Elson, by the way. We're going head to head. He's got the AFC. I have the NFC. We're going to do a starting lineup and who we think would be in the Pro Bowl. It can be anybody, but who we think would be in the Pro Bowl. We're going head to head. Elson AFC, I'm NFC with the starting lineup. So we'll go by position, I think. I think that's fair.
I think so.
And I think, do we want to, I think we should probably keep track of a score. Maybe we say, let's do this. How about this? If there's ties, we can agree on ties. It's just a washout. But we each get a point. If my quarterback's better than your quarterback, we get a point.
Okay.
Is that fair?
I think that's fair.
I don't know how we're going to stack up. There's a couple positions I'm like, yeah, the AFC is way better than me, but we'll see. We're going head to head here. So we're going to see who picked the best lineup possible.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with quarterback. You can go first.
This is really hard. I was going to ask whether this should be regular season or like the playoffs where it actually matters. I'm not going to mess around with Josh Allen. It's Patrick Mahomes. Dude's a winner. I don't have anything left to say. I hate watching him flop around the football field. You can't argue with results.
Not even Lamar Jackson was not even in your conversation.
Lamar didn't even make it to the divisional round or the conference championship.
I guess, but he might win MVP.
Yeah. This is like head-to-head. This is who is going to beat who, right?
Okay, I guess.
I would love to pick Lamar. I would love to side with Lamar, but come on. It's Patrick Mahomes. I can't go anywhere else.
All right, fine. So I went with my boy Jaden Daniels.
Okay. I think that's a good pick. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFC by far.
Yeah, but he doesn't compare to Patrick Mahomes, right? I think you get to one. I
agree.
One there. Okay. All right, fine. We're going to give Elson the point there. I'm going to keep track. I guess we're both E's, so I'm going to do Ethan and Elson. Elson gets a point. Okay. There you go. Running backs. 2 running backs each.
We're doing 2 running backs, not 3 wideouts.
I had both. We can go one or the other. I know that's technically 12 players, actually.
We can do a 12-man offense. I'm okay with that.
Okay, let's do it. All right, 2 running backs. I'll go first this time. I'll say Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs.
Okay. So obviously my first pick is Derrick Henry. I only planned to pick 1 running back. So let me just check my actual custom Pro Bowl lineup coming soon to Psychics NFL. We're going to have a graphic and everything. Really excited to post this. Going to have a full 53-man roster because I can't remember offhand who my second favorite AFC running back is because I know the NFC was way deeper. Like you've got Bijan, You've got Josh Jacobs, obviously. All right, halfbacks and fullbacks. Next up, I have, James Cook, because you can kind of pick James Cook or Joe Mixon, so we're going to go Cook. I don't feel great about that. Jonathan Taylor had a good season, but, he fumbled, injuries. I'll go Cook.
So Ethan Rose wins this one?
Do we do one for both running backs? I guess you win both slots. Maybe that should be 2 points for you.
I think just total position.
Okay, all right. Definitely
All right,
NFC then.
Okay. Wide receivers. You go with your receivers, 3 of them.
I'm going to take Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas Jr., and then Ladd McConkey in the slot.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb, probably Justin Jefferson.
Good.
And Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I think you win this one. CD was good. The NFC is definitely a lot stronger.
Starter. He's a real Pro Bowl starter.
What was that?
CD's a real Pro Bowl starter.
He might make my roster. He might be the 6th wide receiver in the NFC for me.
Would you take who's the other guy that I didn't take? Oh, Amon-Ra. Would you take Amon-Ra over CD?
Oh, easily. Amon-Ra is like my number 1 in the NFC.
You take him over Justin Jefferson too?
Based on this season, yes. Like for career outlook, no. Justin Jefferson still won.
Okay. All right, but I do get the job done. We get the win either way. So it's 2-1 me. Tight ends. Who do you get?
I gotta take Bowers.
You got Bowers, Brock Bowers?
Yep.
Okay, I got George Kittle. I'll probably give it to you. I think
it's Kittle. Kittle
you
wins
think
that.
Kittle? I mean, after this year? Brock Bowers' year?
Okay, so here's the thing. Brock Bowers is a better receiver than George Kittle when you play him in the slot. However, George Kittle is a better receiver in line. Get him the ball, let him break tackles after the catch, and he is like 50 times better as a blocker. George Kittle is the best tight end in the NFL, and it's not even close.
I struggle taking a point there, Elson.
You want to split it, halves and halves?
I think we'll go draw. We'll go tie.
Okay.
I'm getting text messages that say we're live on Instagram right now. I know we're not, but
sweet bonus coverage.
Shout out Instagram.
We tried to cancel it and they said no. Uh-oh.
Good. Are we back?
I'm back.
Were you
How long was I
spinning
gone
too?
for? What did I miss?
No, were you spinning? Was your screen spinning?
You were totally frozen on my end.
Okay, well, that was just a major lag spike. Not sure what's going on, but I think we're okay. I think
we're back
recouping.
now. Shout out Instagram.
Whew. Instagram, they're taking us off. I don't know what's going on.
Getting canceled in real time.
yeah. We're getting shipped off or something. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so we're gonna take a draw at tight end. Let's go O-line. Let's just go starting 5 or starting 5. I went actual positions like guard, tackle, center.
Me too.
But, okay.
Couldn't do it any other way.
I think so.
Do you want to go first or should I?
I'll go first this time. I think you went last time. I'm going to go Lane Johnson, Tyler Smith, Frank Ragnow, Landon Dickerson, and Penei Sewell.
Sewell. That's a good line.
Sewell.
I don't really have issues with any of those picks. On my end, I'm a little weaker at tackle because Lane Johnson, I think, is number 1. Sewell is excellent. Mailata in the NFC is up there too. I'm going to take Rashawn Slater for the Chargers. And then I struggle with my second pick. I'm going to go Laramie Tunsil for the Texans. He had a little bit of a down year, but he was the only remotely decent lineman in that room. Everything is harder when you're trying to compensate for guards that have no idea what's going on. Then I'm going to take Quinn Miners and Joe Tooney, who are probably the 2 best guards in the NFL this year. They're both absolutely fantastic. Tooney was so good that he kicked out to left tackle for the Chiefs. Never played there before. He's just that good as a pass protector that they took their starting guard and made him their left tackle. And then Creed Humphrey, best center in the NFL by a mile.
Yeah, no doubt. Shoot, this is tough.
That is tough. You're better at tackle. I'm better on the interior.
Yeah.
You want to split this? Get back to an even number?
I like splitting it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're splitting. It's 2-1, right?
I think it'd be 3-2.
Okay, if we give it a point for ties. I was not giving points for ties.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So 2-1. 2-1 still. Let's go D tackles. So the inside of the big boys. Who do you got? You got two of these, right?
This is easy. Chris Jones, the best pass rushing defensive tackle in the NFL by a
Yeah.
mile. They literally play him on the edge. He's that good. And then Cam Hayward, who got hurt last year. He was kind of iffy. This year, he's been absolutely insane. Top 5 run defender, excellent pass rusher. And he's batted down 10 passes. Most starting cornerbacks in the NFL have not broken up 10 passes this year. That is insane.
That is crazy. Who's your other guy? You just going with the 3-man front? Oh, Cam Hayward.
I was thinking 2 interior and 2 edge.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I missed. You got
now.
Hayward. You got Hayward and Jones. Sorry,
Yeah.
I missed that. That's my fault.
We're running the Okie front. We're in the Big 12.
Yep, absolutely. Is that a Tulsa thing? I know they're not Big 12, but is Tulsa an Okie kind of team, or what are they doing?
Oh no, we're 4-3. 2-5
Okay.
techniques, hand in the dirt.
Good. Hey, good for
Both of
them.
them transferred out.
Ooh. So we're saying that there's potential that we're going to be even worse next year.
Correct.
We need a Ripper Bowl. Tulsa versus Milwaukee. Is that ever going to happen as any sport? I mean,
That would be close. I don't know
need
who would win that.
We need that. We're going to kick your butt in basketball, but any other sport. And volleyball. We're conference champs in volleyball.
We're not a bad volleyball team either.
Okay, maybe we'll meet there. Maybe we'll see that happen. We'll get on the phone.
We'll make it
and see
happen, folks.
Yeah. Okay, there you
Stay
go.
tuned.
Interior D-line for me, I go Jalen Carter and Vita Vea, so I'm going to give you the point there.
I agree. Vita Vea is really good. Jalen Carter had a great season too, but they can't match up with Hayward and Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. Edge rushers, I go Nick Bosa, Mike Parsons, 1-2 in the league.
I like those picks. I'm going to go Myles Garrett, and I went back and forth between TJ Watt and Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson led the league in sacks. He's really come along. TJ Watt is kind of special because he's not the best as like a pure pass rusher, but he's always in the right place at the right time. There's a reason that he leads the league in strip sacks every year. I did go with Hendrickson, and I think we're probably going to take the point here. Do you disagree?
So you went Hendrickson and who?
Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett.
Oh, Myles Garrett. Bosa and Mike are 1 and 2.
Myles Garrett is easily 1, in my opinion.
No way.
And Parsons is close. Parsons is probably the second best pass rusher in the league, I think. And Bosa's way up there too.
Oh my God. But then Trey Hendrickson might be top 5.
I agree. Do you want to do a push here? I think that's kind of fair. Because
Okay,
Myles
I'll take push. I can
Myles
deal
and
with a
Parsons
push.
are close. And
Yeah.
then Hendrickson and Bosa are close.
Okay, I'll take a push. I think it's fair to say that Garrett is. The 2 pairs are close, but Garrett is better than Bosa and Micah. Garrett is better than Micah and Bosa is better than Hendrickson. So we're better.
I think that's fair. I wouldn't
okay.
disagree.
All
with
right,
that.
I can settle for that. Linebackers, you got 3 of them.
I only took 2. I could take a third. That's not a big deal. You're
go
going
5
to win
DBs?
anyway. What was that?
You going 5 DBs then?
Yeah, we're basing out of the nickel. It's 2024.
Understandable. I went with the good old 4-3.
Literally what the Cowboys run, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Lead the league in 3 linebackers, I think,
Really, is that right? I didn't
because
know
they can't stop the run.
That's not cool, man. That's not cool.
Go ahead.
You didn't have to say that.
You're welcome.
We got Matt Eberflus now. We're good. We're gonna stop the run all
Some
day.
ball knowledge for you. Maybe you'll be able to take one of the linebackers off the field. Or actually, I think DeMarvion Overshown already took care of that. Took himself off the field.
Oh my God, you can't say that either, dude. That is a low. That dude's. Come
I'm
on.
rooting for him. He's a fun player. I hope he
God.
held these up and he's great.
I love that dude. He had a crazy year.
He's a really fun player. Great in pass coverage.
You're a horrible person.
Yes,
We're
I am.
gonna. I might have to fire you.
Live on the show.
I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. My linebackers: Fred Warner, dog.
Yeah.
Zach Bond, dog.
Yep.
Andrew Van Ginkel, dog. Shout out Badgers. 2 Badgers in the linebacker corps. I'll be you.
I love that. So the linebacker room in the AFC just is kind of straight up not good. I'm going to take Roquan Smith, who is obviously a really good player. This was not his strongest year. He was kind of just okay. Good tackler, all right in pass coverage. And then I went with Devin Lloyd, who might be the best tackler in the NFL. Bobby Wagner is still way up there. I'm kind of surprised you didn't take Bobby Wagner, but, you got to get Wagner in the lineup. So those will be my 2. I thought about like Diane Henley for the Chargers. Good cover player. Zaire Franklin made the Pro Bowl because he has like 5 picks and 4 forced fumbles and a bunch of tackles for loss and sacks. And it's like those are his only good plays on the season. So how do you balance that out? I'm going to go with Smith and Lloyd. You win. Easy.
Thanks. So it's 3-2. I'm back in the lead. I think your DBs are probably going to cook mine. Are we breaking DBs as a whole, or your cornerbacks and safeties?
I think we should. break them up.
Okay, I agree. So I only took 2 cornerbacks then, and I went with Jalen Johnson. Not Stevenson, not the guy at the crowd who led up the Hail Mary. I did not go with him. It's Jalen Johnson. And then I went with CJ Gardner-Johnson. Hurt me to pick him. Not a big fan of his. But he had a good year. The interception total, top 3 in the NFL or top 5, something like that.
He's not even a cornerback anymore, Ethan. They moved him to safety.
I'll take him as a corner. I don't got many other options.
He can still play there. Or you could like literally go to his own team and pick Quinyon Mitchell or Big Play Slay.
Those guys, they're not there yet. Big Play Slay, that guy, no. He's probably my most hated player. I'm not a big fan of his.
That's understandable.
He's leaving.
They're not. Darius Slay's up there, but he is not the trash talker that CJ Gardner-Johnson is.
Yeah, I don't like either of them. Like I said, it pained me to pick him, but I don't have many options. And you mentioned, and I didn't know this, but he doesn't even play that position anymore. But yeah,
they move him around.
I'm
He's
weak.
But that's totally fine. You can play him there. I'm going to go Pat Surtain, Derek Stingley, 2 excellent man-to-man corners. Surtain was just locked down this year.
I mean,
Stingley was all-pro level good. And then we'll take Marlon Humphrey in the slot. I think that's a win for me.
Yeah, I think I might have to give you 2 points for that dub. I mean, you killed me right there. Corners, the safeties, I like my safeties. I got Xavier McKinney, and you can agree that he's a dog. I mean, you like him.
Certified.
And I initially went with Brian Branch, and I liked him, and he was a Pro Bowler, I do believe, in real life. But then I was looking at some stats. Do you know who leads the league in interceptions this year?
Who leads the league in picks? That's probably Kirby for the Lions.
Kirby, that's my man. Kirby Joseph.
I don't mind. Those are 2 really, really good players. You've got me beat. I'm going to go with Kyle Hamilton playing in the box and then Brandon Jones for the Broncos. There aren't really a lot of good, like, roaming free safety types in the AFC.
Yeah.
Jones
Kyle
also
Hamilton.
plays.
Kyle Hamilton's really, really good.
Yeah, he is. He's like the entire Ravens defense sometimes, I swear.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Shout out Notre Dame. You're going to give this one to me?
Yeah, I will. Oh, actually, no, that's not even hard. Like, those are pretty clearly the 2 best safeties in the NFL, I think. And then even Branch is, I think, number 3.
Okay. All right, fine. I'll take it. I like my safeties definitely over my corners. So now I think we split kicker, punter, and returner up evenly, right? I think that's
agreed.
Fair. Okay.
Oh, no, I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, I know you don't. Yeah, that's right. I know you don't.
Do I get to pick first?
You absolutely get to pick first.
I'll tell you what, Ethan. I know who you're going to pick, and this is going to be a push because they are both studs. I'm going to take Chris Boswell for the Steelers. The Steelers' offense is pretty much just get into Chris Boswell field goal range, which is anything less than 60 yards. But Brandon Aubrey, you're welcome. One hell of a kicker.
Brandon Aubrey is in a 1-of-1 tier. You can't even say they're close.
Disagree. They're the same. They're both studs. Both got awesome range, awesome accuracy. Absolute nails when it matters. That's a push.
You're stealing one from me here. Brandon Aubrey is one of a kind. You can't take that away from me.
There's rumors. The biggest leg in the NFL.
So before we hired Schottenheimer, you heard all the ideas about Deion coming in, that we trade Dak and get the first overall pick from the Titans.
Oh, that would be terrible. That would be franchise suicide right there. That would be a horrible decision.
It would, right? But so then, our special teams coordinator, who was our special teams coordinator. He's gone now, but he was probably one of the best in the league, top 3 or 4.
I mean, that makes sense. Special teams are really good.
Yeah, he's great at his job. He's with the Titans now. He's not with us anymore. He went with the Titans. Rumor has it he wants to trade for Brandon Aubrey. We're not going to give up Dak Prescott for the first overall pick. We're going to give up Brandon Aubrey for the first overall pick. Would you do that?
For the first overall pick?
Yeah,
yes, Ethan. I'm not stupid.
But, being a Cowboy fan, we've went through Greg Zuerlein, who was okay. Brett Maher has his moments. Some other guy, I think. And, our kicking game the last handful of years has just been atrocious. And, it's tempting. But I can't say 100% yes.
I don't
first
know.
Overall pick.
You're insane.
Travis Hunter. But
I don't know if I would do a second for him or not. Any first round pick and he's gone. But really? I don't know if I would do a second. Okay. He's really good. He's special.
That's crazy though. Kicker. We're talking about a kicker here. That trade potential. That's crazy.
He's got a huge leg. He's clutch. He doesn't miss. He's really good.
Would you say Chris Boswell's got the same trade value?
No, because he's way older.
Oh, so okay. So we're saying that's 1-of-1 situation. It's that's the point.
I would say so. I think he's the future kickers in the NFL. Boswell's probably a little bit more accurate, but Aubrey's probably got an extra 2 or 3 yards in him and probably an extra 10 or 15 years in him.
So are you saying I got snubbed in my point?
No, because
Okay.
this is like right now, not 10 years down the road.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to you. All right, punter. We're gonna wash. But who you got for punter?
I got Tommy Townsend, best hang time in the NFL. Shout out AJ Cole for the Raiders. Also a great punter, a little bit of a down season. So we'll take Tommy Townsend for the Texans.
So yeah, family league. Shout out punters, because in my family league we actually have punters in our fantasy football. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I think they should be worth more than QBs because they're more important than QBs.
Okay, so now
Just ask the Chicago Bears.
A little bit of a okay. Torrey Taylor's a beast. I probably should have took him. But punters are not a big fan favorite by the league. The league is not favored, and they're. I don't even have a couple of years now that we've had them in the league, but they're talking. I mean, they're gone next year.
Bring them to the Ripper League. Sub them out of the family league and put them in Ripper.
I'll do it. I mean, a 16-man punters. I mean, you're getting some bad punters in that group. I mean, you guys are just lucky to get a point on. Maybe we'll do that. What are your thoughts on like a special team player, like a kick returner? We talked about that for our league.
That's a little bit of a harder sell for me because that's so much luck involved. Like, it's
if you
the
got a
same
kick return
reason that
touchdown,
I don't
that's like
love
15,
getting 6
20
points for your defense when their special teams returns a touchdown. It's kind of just luck.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of hard because special teams is included in that defense category.
I would like punters better because punters, like, they're punting every game a couple times at least.
Absolutely. Hopefully the people are listening to that in that league. Hopefully they're listening because I want them to stay, but I'm kind of
Punters are people too.
Absolutely. Shout out Pat McAfee, by the way. All right. So did we pick her? I haven't said. I'm going Jack Fox for my punter.
I think that's fair. Jack Fox has probably the biggest leg among punters in the NFL. He's very good at doing what the Lions want him to do, which is punt the ball straight for a very long way. I think this one's a push. Are you okay with the push here?
If you're okay with losing because your kick return is not as good as mine.
I got to be honest. Go ahead. I know who you're picking.
Kevontae motherfucking Turpin.
Kevontae Turpin. Best Madden spin move in the league.
Absolutely. I mean, Kevontae Turpin is the best all-around kick returner in the league.
He can – well, honestly, I would say Kevontae Turpin he returns punts too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, but yeah.
I think he's the best everything returner in the league. Like, I don't know if there's a punt returner in the NFL I would take over Kevontae Turpin. It's kind of like a dead zone right now.
It's kind of crazy to think Kevontae Turpin and Brandon Aubrey, both guys came from the USFL.
Oh, really?
Two all-pro caliber players. I'm just saying. Cowboys scouting department in the USFL kicking butt, no doubt.
I got Marvin Mims on the Broncos for my pick. Very good young punt returner. Made some plays as a wideout for them down the stretch as well. I got to be honest, he's not Kevontae Turpin. Doesn't do kick returns. About the same as a punt returner. We got to give this one to Kevontae.
All right. That means
who's your long snapper pick, Ethan?
Long snapper?
I got Ross Matisic on the Jags. If you can name a long snapper, I'll give you a push. Any long snapper.
All right. Jake McQuaid.
Who does he play for? I recognize the name.
At least he used to. I don't know if he still did this year.
Who?
Jake McQuaid.
But who does he play for?
Cowboys.
Let me look that up.
He did last year, I think.
He may or may not
Trent
be in the NFL.
Is Trent Sieg our guy?
Trent Sieg. I don't think he's a long
SIEG?
snapper. McQuaid is the long snapper for the Dolphins. I personally would have taken Andrew DePaola from the Vikings.
Or
Scott Daly from the Bears, but that's
fine.
all
You
right.
can have the point. I still win.
We'll give you the push.
Okay, thanks. So at the end of the day, I get the job done. I win.
The NFC is better than the AFC.
So we're saying the NFC should win the Pro Bowl.
Correct.
They should.
I
Who's
think they're going to win 73 to
Eli
67.
the NFC coach?
What was that?
Is Eli the NFC coach? Right? I would assume.
No, I think it's different this year. Let me look up who the Pro Bowl coaches are.
We gotta hire a fact checker. We gotta get
We're
someone
doing
behind the
research
scenes.
live on the show.
Yeah, we gotta hire someone.
No,
Anybody
it is
who's
still
listening.
Peyton and Eli. I was wrong.
Good
It's still
job.
Peyton and Eli.
It is still them. But who's the coach of who? I always thought it was Eli with the NFC because he played for the Giants.
You would think so. AFC is Peyton. NFC is Eli. Yep.
Okay, so we're probably gonna lose because Eli sucks at coaching.
That's what the Pro Bowl is all about, folks. It's the coaching. It's the discipline. It's who's controlling their gap in the trenches.
That's right.
That's what
That's
decides.
Right. Yeah,
Isn't it flag football now as well?
Flag football, yeah, I don't hate it. It's better than I think that Pro Bowl's
agree.
made improvements. Pro Bowl's made improvements.
They get to have some fun because nobody wants to get hurt. I do think flag is better.
I like the aspect because like I don't really like the product or performance that they're doing, but I like the aspect that you're able to kind of, see these guys a little bit more one-on-one, mic'd up moments, and like seeing a little bit more of their personality. I kind of like that. It's more so like
I agree.
I'll turn it on in the background. Like you're able to do that now, where it used to be like if this touches my TV, I'm going to bed. You know what I mean? It's one of those, but you can at least turn it on in the background. It's not watchable. But you can turn it on in the background for sure.
It's adequate background noise.
Absolutely.
No doubt. That's the best compliment we can give the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's go to a little championship weekend recap. 2 games to get to, and then we're up on out of here. Starting in the AFC, a tough one for our Bills and Josh Allen. Chiefs get the job done 32-29, and this is just one half of another disappointing Super Bowl.
They couldn't get it done. I picked the Bills to win. Thought it was going to be very close, and it was, but my fear came true, and the Chiefs won it in the 1-score game. And I do think that you have to start with Josh Allen because Josh Allen was not the elite version of Josh Allen that we were going to need for the Bills to win this game. It wasn't bad. I think the difference is he was just a good to great quarterback instead of an elite one, made a few mistakes early on that the Chiefs didn't punish, came back late. It wasn't quite enough. However, the real story of this game for me, Joe Brady, the Bills offensive coordinator, had the worst game of his career. They were running the ball really, really well with James Cook, there's a reason that I picked him as my second running back. He's a stud. They couldn't get him the ball when it mattered. Instead, they kept going back to the kind of pseudo tush push that the Chiefs were eating up because they have Chris Jones and some really, really good defensive ends who know how to push back and stop him from getting those first downs. It was just overall a very uninspired game, and it cost them in a big moment. However, you got to mention the refs. You want to take it from here?
Yeah, I got a question for you. I'll throw it back on your hands a little bit. Do we feel that the Chiefs' hate is a little out of hand, a little bit maybe, I don't know, lack of better, like the whole like, oh my God, or like, are we hating the Chiefs or are we hating success? What's the thought on that?
Let me say this. I think it hurt more to see the Chiefs win that game than it did when the Packers lost to the Eagles. That's how much I hate the Chiefs right now because I do think that they're favored by the refs. I don't think it's some grand conspiracy with Taylor Swift and Roger Goodell and all of this nonsense.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's impossible that the refs are instructed to tip the scales toward the Chiefs a little bit because even in this game, you've got the Xavier Worthy catch, which, iffy call. I don't know if you saw that when it was simultaneous catch, ball touched the ground, didn't really get knocked out, whatever.
I saw that.
There's the Josh Allen play where I reacted to that live and thought that was a first down. And then I showed the replay and I thought it was a first down.
Yep.
But even before that, they gave Dalton Kincaid a terrible spot to set up 4th and over a full yard. This should have been 4th and 2 inches. And if it's 4th and 2 inches, Josh Allen easily gets that. I thought that there was kind of a phantom defensive holding or pass interference call against the Bills at one point where even Romo kind of did his, I don't know, Jim, sort of thing. The officiating here, it's frustrating to watch every week because I do think there's some realness to it.
Yeah, when there's that much evidence thrown on the table, I think that it's kind of hard to not get those ideas about, there might be something to this. But I there's a certain level of it where I feel like, and I'm a huge Pat McAfee fan. I love watching the show. I was watching it today, and they're having this conversation about this whole thing. And the idea of MJ got brought up about how everyone loved MJ. There was not a lot of hate. And obviously you and I not really alive for his era, so it's hard to tell. But one of the points that was made was the fact that there's no social media back when MJ was. Nowadays, we have social media. People say, Taylor Swift's conspiracy against, the NFL, or the refs are supporting the Chiefs, or these little kind of, what you would think are crazy ideas. Maybe they're logistic, who knows? But what you would think are not reasonable things. People on social media are able to kind of get behind and say, oh my gosh, I agree. Or, you made that comment. Now I couldn't agree more now that I realize it. MJ's era, no one had that. Everyone had their own opinion, and they got to see what they saw. And when you get that authentic experience, not influenced by social media or these crazy people with burner accounts just hacking at people, keyboard warriors, you know what I'm talking about. When you don't have that and you're getting kind of that authentic interaction, you get a real opinion. And when someone's truly a kind of a good person, like MJ, I'm assuming is. I mean, I've never talked to the guy, never really watched him play sports, but from what I hear, he's a good guy. You get that authentic experience, and you get a real life feeling about that person. Social media, I think even media. I mean, as a Cowboy fan, I'm not trying to play victim here, but you turn on the NFL or you turn on ESPN, and they have nothing better to talk about than the Dallas Cowboys. And I know it makes them a lot of money, but a lot of this stuff's crap. Just from I follow the Cowboys very heavily. I follow specific pages I feel like produce pretty good information that Adam Schefter's not always reporting on. So I think that I have a pretty good understanding about what's going on within that franchise. As a fan at least, and not inside the program. But I mean, some of the stuff they're just talking about is just literally storylines, and they're trying to fill time and talk about it because people will watch that because everybody else hates the Cowboys. So it's very monetary driven, and there's a lot of things that kind of go in with that. Social media stuff, everything with media sucks, and I think that's kind of part of that. Well, honestly, I don't know 100% if I agree with the whole idea that social media is the reason why we hate the Chiefs. I do think people hate success. I think that they whoever's the best is not their favorite. I think at this time in life, I think
we want to root for the underdog.
Why do you think the Lakers are so hated? You know what I mean? I would assume the Lakers are hated, aren't they? Hated? They're hated, right?
Relatively, I would say.
I mean, the Yankees and Dodgers are hated unless
Yankees is a great example.
Those are certain things. So, people hate success, I think. And I think when you have players, Patrick Mahomes is very unlikable. His personality is very unlikable. He's a guinea pig to make fun of. Let's be real. And I just think that there's certain things in that aspect. And when one keyboard warrior makes a comment and 20 million other people say that, and you're like, now you pointed that out, I couldn't agree with you more. Now that that's a thing, I think it's kind of an avalanche effect. And that's how I feel.
I don't really disagree with you because I do think that sports media, like watching ESPN, it is designed to get us mad, and it is designed to cater to a social media audience with clickbait and hot takes that are actually just delusional and insane. However, I will raise a counterpoint, and that's that MJ obviously won a lot. MJ was a human highlight reel basically his entire career. Patrick Mahomes early on when he had Tyreek Hill, absolutely. Right now, watching the Chiefs isn't really fun. Patrick Mahomes is authentically, and this is an insane stat.
He plays a way to draw penalties. He's
a flopper. He's probably the most egregious flopper in the NFL. Yep. Now, Josh Allen is up there, and if Josh Allen was a winner, we'd be hating him too. But it's the flopping, and the Chiefs are not an entertaining offense. They're a run the ball 3 yards at a time and convert on third down offense. So adjusted completion percentage is what you get when you take away spikes, throwaways, throws where the QB gets popped as he's releasing the ball, because that's not really fair. Throws over 20 yards. Patrick Mahomes' peers in adjusted completion percentage this year are Caleb Williams, Deshaun Watson, and Daniel Jones. He's been a quick pass. He's just not fun to watch. Occasionally you get the kind of falling down, off-platform throw like we saw against the Texans. For the most part, they're kind of just really meh.
Yeah, this is kind of a hard. It's a great point you bring up, but the whole idea of hating the Chiefs and all of that, it's hard for me because I agree. And you watch Patrick Mahomes, he has a playing style that sucks. He's developed this playing style that no one enjoys to watch, makes people hate him even more. But he does come up with that big play. And it seems like it comes up in the biggest moments,
He's
the
clutch.
biggest games. He has the clutch. He has the clutch persona. He has that. You can't deny it. I think to counter myself in a way about hating success, Josh Allen's obviously pretty successful, probably going to win. I hope he wins his first MVP. People are feeling bad for Josh Allen losing this game. Whereas if Patrick Mahomes lost this game, people would be happy. There's a difference there. People like Josh Allen. And if Josh Allen was a 2-time defending Super Bowl champion, maybe that's a little bit different, but there is a certain level of personality that people like. People like Josh Allen's personality, including myself. I love Josh Allen. I'm assuming you do too. Majority of the people enjoy his personality, enjoy what he's about. Where Patrick Mahomes has that kind of cocky swagger, like I drive a fancier car than you. my wife's hotter than yours, like that whole kind of thing that goes about that. I put for the Chiefs on the best quarterback, but then there's also that aspect of success. And who knows if Josh Allen was in the shoes of Patrick Mahomes, who knows what his persona would be. But right now, the thing is, like, people are feeling bad. They're sending condolences to Josh Allen for losing this game. And I don't know about that. That type of thing concerns. It's not like Josh Allen hasn't had success. So it's kind of a twofold situation.
I'm actually going to disagree on Patrick Mahomes' personality. I think that we've distorted how we view his personality.
That's fair.
Based on being a winner. I think that if Josh Allen was a winner, Josh Allen would probably be hated. I think if Joe Burrow, a guy a lot of people like, was a winner, and I'm talking like a Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's a loser as a player, but if he won a bunch of Super Bowls, I think a lot of people would hate him. I think if Lamar won a bunch of Super Bowls, a lot of people would hate him. Patrick Mahomes actually strikes me as a relatively down-to-earth guy. I think that the personal hate for him has gone a little far. Don't get me wrong, like Josh Allen is more fun to listen to. He's got social isn't the right word, but he's a little bit more energetic, whereas Mahomes comes off as very reserved. I do think it's because the Chiefs are a dynasty, and kind of that like reservedness, like I'm going to beat you, and then I'm not going to talk much. I'm kind of just going to go and prepare for the next game. I do think that's kind of annoying to some people because it's like they're winning without trying. And then when you watch them, it's like they're winning when they shouldn't be. And it's the perfect storm of, seriously, these are the guys that beat us, but for every team in the NFL every year.
Yeah, I mean, when the Patriots were that dynasty, everybody hated them.
And it was the same thing with the Patriots and Tom Brady. They would beat you, and then they wouldn't talk much about it. They would go on to the next game, and they would beat every team over and over again. Everybody hated them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Elson, you mentioned seeing the Chiefs win this game was worse than seeing your Packers lose. What was worse between the Chiefs winning this game or the Eagles winning their game?
Oh, easily the Chiefs. I don't love the Eagles. I think they're fine. I would rather the Philly team not go to the Super Bowl, but I am rooting hard for Philly. I'm rooting hard for Jalen Hurts, who I've hated on a lot, because I do not want to see the Chiefs three-peat.
Well, let's talk about it, because I got to say, I do not, with all of my heart, want to see the Eagles win this Super Bowl. I am the biggest Eagle hater there is. They are 32 of 32 on my hated list. I got to say, Packers are 31, so they're not too
above
far
the
behind.
Chiefs. Come on, man, that's terrible.
The Chiefs,
you don't believe that.
Chiefs might be 30. Chiefs might be 30, maybe 29. We'll see. But the Eagles, 100% out talented the Commanders. They completely beat them in all facets of the game. Talk about this one, Elson.
Now, I don't think that the Eagles were 30 or however many points better than the Commanders. I thought the Commanders were in this for most of the first half. They just made too many mistakes. This is not necessarily a young team, because the guys who fumbled were De'Ami Brown, who's in like his fourth or fifth year, Jeremy McNichols, who came out of Boise State like 7 years ago. Here's a little fun fact. Jeremy McNichols has been on like every practice squad in the NFL, and he's like never taken meaningful carries in a game. He's like a 28-year-old running back, and this is the first year where he actually got touches. Good for Jeremy McNichols. Bad fumble in this one. And Austin Eckler, who's like 29 years old. So these aren't young players, but none of these guys were on the Commanders before. De'Ami Brown was. He barely played. They just don't have the guys. Those are not the players that should be touching the ball when you're playing the Eagles in the conference championship. Next year, they're going to come back reloaded with a stronger offensive line, with better secondary pass catchers, with a better secondary. This should be a really scary team with Jaden Daniels on that rookie contract.
Yeah, so I kind of try to compare this as a situation of conference versus conference. The AFC structure is pretty built out. The Chiefs are the top tier, and then you get the Bills, you get the Ravens, maybe the Bengals are in that category. Maybe then, you got potentially Steelers. So there's a couple teams that are like tier 2, tier 3, arguably. But you have that number one team. The NFC, I would say the structure of that isn't 100% as clean. Like, we don't have that distinct number one. I think the Lions thought potentially might be that team coming up.
I think the healthy Lions are that team. And the Eagles are up there. I do think there's a clear cut too, but it really opens up after that.
Absolutely. But neither of those teams are Super Bowls. They're not the Chiefs with Super Bowls right now. They haven't won a Super Bowl since the Eagles' Nick Foles Super Bowl. So
it's been very AFC dominant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not clear cut like that. But this Commanders team really, really gives me the vibe of like a Bills or a Ravens, like a tier 2 team. I think they're a team that's going to build themselves into contenders, which is scary to say, being a division opponent of theirs. But they're gonna build themselves in that tier 2, tier 3 kind of era, and they're gonna build a dynasty of that. Whether or not if they get the right matchups and the right path to the Super Bowl, maybe they find their way there. But they struggled to beat that big team. We saw the Commanders beat the Eagles earlier this year, but three matchups is insane. I mean, it's tough to do that, especially in the NFL. I mean, when you think about you're playing a team 3 times out of a total of like 21 times in a season, that's crazy. But what I'll say is that I think the Commanders are they're going to build to that point. Jaden Daniels had a lights out season. Hopefully he doesn't run into the sophomore slump like he had, like CJ Stroud in a similar situation like that. Hopefully that doesn't result. But I think that they're going to build themselves into a playoff contender each and every year. I think Dan Quinn's a great coach. I think a guy like Terry McLaurin, I think that defense is solid too, and they're going to continue to add pieces. Commanders isn't interesting. I mean, they've got a new stadium at some point that's coming. They got a cool culture. It's like a lot of cool kids want to play there. They're going to be able to recruit through free agency and draft the studs they want. I think there's potential of a good dynasty brewing up there, but they're not a tier 1 team.
You talked about this Commanders team potentially feeling like a Ravens or a Bills where you're just expecting them to make the playoffs. It's not an if, it's how far are they going to go into the playoffs.
Yeah.
What's the common denominator there? It's the quarterback. And that's why I completely agree with you, because the Commanders have their guy. There is no doubt left in my mind. Jaden Daniels is, I think, one of the 7 best QBs in the NFL. He could absolutely ascend to elite status. In fact, if he comes out and over like the first quarter of next season, he repeats what he did this year, I'm going to put him up there with Burrow and Lamar. That's how good I think Jaden Daniels was this year, because he was really, really special. I think he led the league in scrambling yards. He doesn't turn the ball over. He extends plays. He can throw downfield. And he did this on, an okay offense. Like, he has Terry McLaurin, and that's kind of it. He doesn't have the superstars that a lot of the really good QBs in the NFL do. It's only going to be up from here as they get better pieces in the secondary. They're going to have Cliff Kingsbury, their offensive coordinator, for a long time, because nobody's going to want him as a head coach after what he did with the Cardinals. The Commanders look set to me. They just need to get healthy, and they need to spend some cash.
Yeah, I think when you think about it, I think like you mentioned, like we compare Lamar to Jaden all the time. I mean, those two guys are very comparable in the play style because they're both scrambling. But one thing that they both have in similar is obviously Lamar has Derrick Henry now and some playmakers, but those two guys can make plays. And Lamar won MVPs with nobody. And no running back. His best wide receiver was Rashad Bateman. I mean, he's got Zay Flowers now, but that's only been a year or two. So, I mean, the scrambling quarterbacks can improvise for themselves. Obviously, the Ravens have a pretty solid offensive line. They got a running back now. They got Zay Flowers on the outside. They're going to continue to get better. But in that, I mean, a position like that, scrambling quarterbacks make plays and they improvise for themselves. Jaden Daniels has that same thing. Imagine what Jaden Daniels does when he gets a good wide receiver too. I'm not saying Brian Robinson's a bad running back, but maybe a better running back, or offensive line gets better. Imagine what he looks like. He's going to go from an MVP caliber quarterback to a Super Bowl champion. And the other thing I like to say is Lamar and Jaden Daniels, both of those guys are going to be revolutionary for scrambling quarterbacks, because I think seeing what those two can do without the pieces. I mean, they got good teams, but they're not great. But they got good teams. They got good foundations, good head coaches. These guys are going to show that scrambling quarterbacks in the NFL are successful, because if they have above average passing but elite running abilities, whereas a normal pocket presence has a well above average arm and average scrambling abilities, that is going to be different. And I think when you see that, it's not going to be who's the best quarterback. It's going to be the style of quarterback. We're going to see a guy like maybe Cam Ward. Cam Ward's maybe a little bit more of a pocket passer, but a Riley Leonard's going to jump up high. And I mean, sorry, I had to, but we're going to see that. It's going to be kind of a new wave, I think, and that's an early prediction. And I think that they're changing the generation of quarterbacks and those scrambling guys, the dual threat ability. I mean, we see it in college recruitment. I think that's going to get translated in the NFL in the next coming years. This is a new wave of quarterbacks that we're going to see.
We're at the beginning of that wave, and I think that Lamar has already shown us that a quarterback whose best attribute is his running can be an MVP. He can be really, really successful, and he can develop into a good passer. It's taken Lamar a little while. Passing is still probably the weakest part of his game, particularly accuracy. But he's top 10 at worst. Jaden Daniels is a rookie, and he was a top 10 passer with insane wheels. When I say that the sky is the limit for him, I authentically mean he could be the best quarterback in football if we revisit this 3 years from now. It's going to look really dumb when Daniels has a sophomore slump and is like only okay next year. But this was the best quarterback rookie season in the history of the NFL, and I feel totally okay saying with that. He already showed in the playoffs that he's clutch. I don't really think he has anything left to prove to me with the team he's playing on right now. As they fill in pieces, this is truly a Super Bowl contender.
We talked about Jane Daniels particularly, but Lamar Jackson shows it too. The elite running ability with an above-average arm. You know who has an above-average running ability and an elite arm?
Above? Oh, no, you're not saying Jalen Milroe, are you?
Patrick Mahomes, and that is the champion of all. That is a champion.
I was going to say, are we going to fight about Jalen Milroe on the podcast? I'm not a Milroe guy. If you can't tell.
We'll leave that to February and March in our draft.
There we go. We'll
leave that conversation a little bit later.
Early Senior Bowl preview. Jalen Milroe apparently looks terrible. There's your Senior Bowl update.
I heard Senior Bowl risers. Riley Leonard's at the top of that list.
Is he? I haven't heard day 2 reports yet, but I could see that.
Okay.
I mean, Jackson Dart, I've heard looks okay. Riley Leonard could be standing out in that group.
And there you go. I thought Jackson Dart potentially staying another year.
No, he's out of eligibility. He was a 4th-year senior.
Okay, interesting. An interesting thing that comes to mind. I talked about Patrick Mahomes, elite arm, above average running ability. You know who I would argue has elite arm talent and elite running ability?
Josh Allen.
And what's the difference? Why is he not in that championship caliber? Is it the team? I think he doesn't have that clutch. I think the biggest stat for quarterbacks is wins and losses, and that's translated into the playoffs. I've always said that. Patrick Mahomes 100% has that, and he's usually at the top of the list in all other stats. Josh Allen wins and losses regular season, yeah, but he can't get the win in the big game. Why? I mean, I would say in raw talent, both running and throwing ability, Josh Allen's at the top of that list.
I think it's a couple of things. I think a big part of it is actually in a roundabout way, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's needing to run into him every year because Patrick Mahomes is an elite quarterback on a really, really good team. Josh Allen's on a good team. He's never been on a Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid level team. I think he's actually played really well in a lot of these big games against Kansas City. If he was in the if he was in the NFC this year, the Bills absolutely might have made the Super Bowl. He played well against the Chiefs, but he only made a few mistakes, and that's all it took. On a more skill set level, I think that Josh Allen has a better arm than Patrick Mahomes, not by a lot. They're both really talented. And I think he's a better runner than Patrick Mahomes. I think he's a little faster, and I think he's a lot stronger. However, what Mahomes has is this psychic sixth sense in the pocket where he knows exactly where the rush is coming from. He knows exactly where the defenders who are chasing him are, and he knows where the sticks are. And he's always going to get the first down by half a yard every single time. It's why the Chiefs are the best third down conversion team in the NFL, because Patrick Mahomes might not be an elite scrambler, but man, it's third down. I'm worried because he's going to find a way to pick it up.
I think the mental aspect of that's important too. Not saying Josh Allen is not mentally strong in football, but I think Patrick Mahomes, and it's just mental, it goes a long way in the clutch aspect too. I consider clutch as part of the mental category. I think that's a huge factor in that whole process, and I really, really think that is a big time play. Do we think, last question before we wrap up NFL talk, do we think Sean McDermott is potentially a guy hindering that success, or is he has the Super Bowl ability to win it?
I don't think Sean McDermott is a problem. Obviously, you're going to have fewer Super Bowl wins and Super Bowl appearances when you're in the same conference as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I do think they can get it done under McDermott. I wouldn't put him in like the top 5, though.
Okay, there you go. Hey, last question before we get out of here. We had a comment I got to share. It's from Daniel Rosensteel, but it's a question for you, Elson.
All right.
Quick question. Love the podcast. My question is, where does Elson get his shirts?
Tulsa football games. Swing by one. You'll see us get killed by 40, but you'll get a nice shirt out of it.
Tulsa football games. All right. There you go. Ethan Rosensteel, Elson Gratz. Thanks for joining us. Episode 63 of the River Podcast. Hey, we'll see you next week. Another special guest. Can't wait to talk. Let's have a fun one. See you later.